Alright, so it was a beginner wheel throwing video. This is 5 pounds of clay, which is kind of a lot. But it'll help me because I'm not as good throwing 5 pounds. So it'll make it look harder. If I put 1.5 pounds on here, I'm just gonna make it look easy. And it really ain't that easy. So this will, since this amount of clay isn't as easy for me to throw, it'll show you more of the struggle. Got my #1 fan in the background. So yeah, you want to have the bottom of it rounded, not really flat. I'll probably have to do a separate wedging video. Alright. So you only want to use as much water as you need. So you're not just throwing water everywhere. And so you push from your elbow and you have this locked in. So I'm not just out here trying to push it. I'm using my whole body to move this clay. And so it's still wobbly at the bottom here. And so you can try to push that back in. But that part's always kind of hard. I haven't figured out how to do that perfect yet. Alright, so remember, just a little bit of water. You're gonna need water flying everywhere. You just want to use as much as you need. It's a tool. Water is a tool. Everything is a tool. So right now, the pressure's right here on my palm. That's what you call that. And I'm pushing with this. Like I said, I've got my whole body connected. I'm pushing here and I'm pulling back a little bit. And so this is called coning. Some people cone way up high and do all this stuff. It's really not necessary to pull the clay way up here and do all this. Just, we ain't doing all that. Alright, so you see how there's a little wave at the bottom? Oh, well, it's not. Right? So what this is doing is just making sure the clay is all mixed together well. So that bottom part, I'm just going to cut that off because it wasn't going to go up. It was too flat. Just as much water as I need. And so you notice I keep the sponge in my hand. That way I can add water if I need to. It's gonna feel weird at first to have the sponge in your hand, but later on it's gonna definitely be a benefit to keep it in your hand all the time. So now I'm moving with the speed of the clay. So this, I'm not just smushing down. I'm using my fist to press down. At the same time, this part is slowly moving out at the same time. So I'm using this to compress this together, and so it's going to move down. So as this comes down, this goes out. So once again, I got this is locked into here, and I'm using my whole body. And I'm going at the speed of the clay. I'm not just pushing down. See how that kind of came out like that? Get rid of that part. I think my wheel, my bat is a little bit wobbly, and I just figured that out, but I want to finish this pot, so this is going to be a good video, because I got stuff working against me, so it won't look super easy. But this is easy. And so now I'm finding the middle, the center point, and I'm gonna open it up. And so once again, I still have my sponge, so if this dries out, I can add a little bit more water if I need it. And so at this point, it's important to remember you're not just trying to push a hole into the middle of it. You want to create this donut kind of shape. So I'm not just using the point of my thumb. I'm using my whole thumb to press into that. And then so if you have a needle tool, you can use this to check the depth. And so that's a little bit thin for this size. So when I pull it the rest of the way out, I'm going to leave more clay at the bottom. If that makes sense. So now I'm using both of my hands to pull out with the sponge in my hand. This is a really bad example because you want that to be flat, but that's okay. You can go in and remove some of the excess, and then I'm going to check this again. So this has a rust mark on it where it helps me know where I want the depth to be. And so if it gets to there, that's about where I want it. But what another thing you can do is you can push down and then put your finger right where that is, so you can see that's how deep it is. And those holes, you don't have to worry about them. They'll fill in by themselves. So this part is important because if you don't compress this right, you can get an S crack in the bottom of your pot. And so I'm just pressing down, and so people think that the swirl is just for like looks, but it's really to compress the bottom of the clay. But I don't always make it look like that, but you can. Alright, so let's lower this a little bit so you can try to see what I'm doing from that part, maybe. So I'm coming on the inside, I'm going to create an indentation. So it's just an indentation right at the base of your pot. So this is going to be, at the end of it, this is going to be the bottom of my pot. So as wide out as I take it, that's as wide as the bottom is going to be. And so now I'm going to scoop under with this hand. So I'm using this with my thumb, and I have this like that. And so you create, a place for you to push the clay through. And so now at this point, I'm gonna push up. And so I want to imagine that there's a point right here that I'm working this clay towards. If you're doing a bowl, you come out, but I'm not making a bowl. I'm gonna make a cylinder, and I'm gonna slightly alter it, and that's it. So once again, you only use as much water as you need. I have my water right here, right beside where I'm at. So it's right there, right where it needs to be. So I'm not reaching way over here to get water. Alright. So I'm gonna push, like I said, up towards the center, making this volcano shape. at the top part, you want to make sure you, at this point, so at the bottom your fingers are like this moving up, and then towards the top your fingers are going to be parallel, and you're going to compress, because if you just keep pulling, then this will get way too thin. Alright. I'm applying water, catch the water like this, and I just put it down the bottom. Same thing with the inside, you just catch the water, just like that. And then so this is kind of a little bit wide, so you kind of have to dig in there a little bit. You can use your finger, you can use this thing, if you have one of these guys. The same deal. Alright. Water on the inside, water on the outside, and we're going to do the second pull. So, try to show you the inside a little bit. Kind of, not really. So, let's see, trying to do this thing. Okay. Let's see here. This here. Not really. Alright. We'll try. So this is in my way. Alright, so from the inside we're going to create an S curve, we're going to push out, and then from this side we're going to push in. See if we can get a good angle. So pushing in at the bottom and pushing out a little bit from the inside on top. At the top, you don't want to thin it out too much, because this is going to be the rim of what you're making. Alright, POV pottery. So, a GoPro would be cool for this. I think I know someone that has one. I should borrow it. Then you could really see. Pushing out and up with my right hand, out with my left hand. Go up, and as soon as I can get my hand around this, I connect my hands. Everything's connected. That way it's strong. So you see, that's how your fingers are. Alright, so at this point, it's a cylinder there's still a lot of, I can feel that it's clunky at the bottom. So I need to thin that out a little bit. And then so if you look, there's water sitting in there. I'm gonna dry that out, because if you leave water sitting in the bottom of the pot it'll rehydrate and it'll be too soft. So you want to make sure that you keep that dry. All right, so we're gonna do this next pool, and I'm gonna give it a little bit of shape, not much, just a little bit. So water on the inside, water on the outside, and then I'm gonna dry the bottom, because you don't leave water sitting in the bottom of the pot. So now it looks a little bit more like a pot. Oh, this camera angle's weird, sorry. Alright, so water on the inside, water on the outside. Dry the bottom. So I'm just gonna shape it just a little bit more. And this clay is pretty soft, so I can't really do anything too extreme with it. It doesn't have this structure. So if your clay is really soft, it's easier at the beginning to center. But then when you get to this part, it can be hard because it wants to fall on itself because it doesn't have the strength. So I'm gonna actually torch this a little bit. Taking the water from the bottom, and I'm gonna sponge the sides to make sure that they're as dry as they can be before I torch it. Probably just, if you're going to use a torch, you can just throw directly on the wheel head. I have this bat, and it's made out of fake granite countertop called Corian, and it handles the heat pretty well. But if you have a plastic bat, don't use a torch because you're going to melt your bat. All right, so now water on the inside. I'm gonna use the rib tool here. Get one of these. And this just kind of smooths out some of the finger marks, which you can leave them, but whatever you do, you want to make it look intentional. And so those finger marks weren't like pronounced enough to look intentional. So kind of want to get rid of them a little bit. You drop stuff on the ground, so you clean it. So just a little bit. A little bit thick right here. And you'll figure it out. It's it just takes time. And then so now I'm gonna bring this in a little bit, and it is wobbling a little bit, but I'll be able to get that out. how thick it is right there. But for the sake of making something, I'm just gonna finish this. So with this, the rim, you want it to go up and then back. So the call that the arc of the diver. Doing a backwards dive. Can't really see it that good. So that's what I'm looking at this part. I want to get this to where it's nice and smooth transition. Don't want it to be rough. So and so you kind of, just like I changed the angle, you want to look at your pot from the side like this. You can't really see what it looks like from here, so you gotta move your head. I'm just strengthening this up a little bit because I don't trust it. Alright. Making sure, you see how often I make sure the bottom's dry. It's really important to make sure that the bottom of your pot, the bottom of the inside is dry. Because if it just has that water sitting in there, it's going to turn into this stuff. It's like not, you don't want the bottom of your pot to be that soft. Alright, I'm going to bring this in just a little bit more so it flows a little better. And then I'm gotta compress the inside. And back. And so that's a little bit flat. So I just scratch that with my fingernail. I can use the rib to go back and clean that up. As you can see, it's wobbly, right? But when you stop it, you can't really, no one's gonna notice that wobble. Just unless they put it back on a pottery wheel and spin it again. You know? I don't think people do that. And then another thing you can do if your rim's not even, is you can cut a little bit of it off. You probably use the torch again. So this is gonna put stress on his neck here, so I'm giving it some more fire, just strengthening it up a little bit more. And so what I'm doing is I'm staying still, and the pot's wobbling still a little bit. So I'm gonna make it smooth. You actually hold your breath a lot, like doing the pull-ups, and then like if you need to be steady, it's kind of like shooting a gun or something. Kind of can hold your breath a little bit to steady your hands. Oh. You really could, you do like a decoration or something like that, but you're not doing that. Not today. It's a good idea, I'll have to remember that. And that's part of it too, is like have fun, get creative. And then so I'm getting rid of some of the little chunks. You see how everything's connected? My hands are all connected like this. Every time I'm touching the pot, everything is connected. I'm not just out here trying to be like, you know. Use the sponge. There's a little something. See, even when I did that, this is still, these are still connected. It's not just one finger, it's like that. It's like this. Okay. Like I said, it's wobbling still. And you can sit and try to make it perfect. But, or you can just make another one and try again. Or you can alter the top, which I'll do. I do it a lot. Because you just can do it like that. And then if you wanted to do just 2, you could just do 2. Or if you wanted to do more, you could do 4, whatever. I think 2 looks cool. I'm gonna leave it. So the next thing is trimming the bottom. So I'll move you back to this side for that. So you can see, I'm gonna take this tool and trim this bottom because it still has extra clay on it. And that helps it stay connected to the wheel. But at this point, I wanna lighten this up a little bit, so I'm gonna remove some of this extra clay. And so even at this point, you can still mess up the whole pot. And I've messed up a lot of pots in the beginning at this part. So you want to come in, and once again you're working on your transition. So how does this look? This is the foot, this is the form and the function of this base. So this pot is probably going to be, people might put some dry stuff in it, I don't know, but it needs to be sturdy enough to stay up and not fall over, you know. So you can't just make a tiny narrow foot on something that's going to be kind of useful and practical. So I'm really coming at an angle and looking as close to like the wheel like that, so you can see what I'm working on. So I just need to get rid of that line, and that's pretty much it. That's it for this one. Come back with the rib and smooth out the transition a little bit. It's a little bit oh, that's really flat. Look, I think this pot is kind of flat. No way! So I need to add some try to lift it up a little bit. This is a lot of you shouldn't change the pot this much. I think it's actually going to be okay. I think I just freaked out. So now we got this weird slump going on. Anyway, pottery lesson 1. So yeah, but that's good. So that way you can see like stuff gets weird. It can get weird. And like I said, I've messed up. I've ruined pots even at this stage. So yeah, what I'm looking at is this is like, looks like it's flattening. I don't know if it's still sinking. So Yeah, it just kind of flattened out. I don't know. I guess I'm just gonna leave it alone. It wanted more function. But yeah, so I'm gonna try to get that. So, I don't know. Was kind of able to save that a little bit, kind of. I don't know. Stuff gets weird. And then the longer you do it, you'll figure out how to like rescue stuff like that. That was a close one. Alright, I'm gonna put these back. I took them out because I needed it to be they were messing me up when I was trying to alter each in there. It's a lucky pot. It almost didn't make it. So this time it's gonna barely take a little bit. Alright, I'm happy with that, I think. Yeah. There you go. Pottery lesson 1. And then so at this point you can take a wire and wire it off, or you can just leave it and eventually when it dries it'll just pop off. So that's what I'm gonna do with this one. Let's see. So there you have it.